Let's jump to another economic leftist. Let's jump over to Tucker Carl Markson, who had J.D. Vance on his show, I guess, a week ago, and they said some pretty ridiculous things.
Is just one of many foundations that have nonprofits.
J.D. Vance, I guess, is a writer, and now he's running for the U.S. Senate in the state of Ohio.
Enjoy nonprofit status, I would say.
In fact, his Twitter account's right here. What does it say? Christian, husband, dad, and Ohio candidate for Senate, author of Hillbilly Elegy, co-founder. Okay, so that's J.D. Vance.
And get to completely change the Ford Foundation is just one of many foundations that have enjoy nonprofit status, I would say, and get to completely change the country non-democratically using their tax exemption. How is this going on?
So, yeah, there are foundations, nonprofits, think tanks, charities that have nonprofit status. And I guess some of these institutions, like the Ford Foundation, haven't read into it, but I guess they might be funding left-wing thought, like critical race nonsense and other craziness. And we're going to hear J.D. Vance's solution to that.
The way this works is that the Ford Foundation, the Gates Foundation, the Harvard University Endowment, these are fundamentally cancers on American society, but they pretend to be charities, and so they benefit from preferential tax treatment. So AOC talks about taxing the wealthy, but the Harvard University Endowment pays zero tax. The Ford
pay zero tax.
Foundation that funds those radicals pays zero tax. They're not actually going to tax their wealthy friends who are funding radical left-wing ideology. What they're going to do is tax normal Americans and protect their friends, protect their special privileges, so they have the resources to continue to fund what is ultimately the destruction of our country. This ideology is going to destroy our country.
So what J.D. Vance has an issue with is ideology, that these institutions, they're funding, they're promoting ideas that he doesn't like. Now, maybe these are horrible ideas like critical race nonsense. Maybe they are responsible for spreading bad ideas. But last time I checked, we have a First Amendment in this country.
It gets special tax privileges from the American taxpayer to do that.
So even Bernie Sanders, who was considered a radical for reordering our economy, et cetera, I don't think he ever called for taxing openly partisan nonprofits like this. Have you ever heard any politician say, why are we subsidizing this insanity?
Why are we subsidizing? You see what's going on here? This is a common tactic from loony leftists. They often conflate tax credits, tax write-offs, a tax exemption. They conflate that with subsidies, which are taking tax revenue that you've raised by taking it from some people and giving it to other people, whether it be welfare, business bailouts, other forms of subsidies.
These are the richest institutions in America. They don't pay any taxes. Why does anyone say that?
Not paying taxes is a subsidy, according to Tucker Carlson.
No, other than me, I don't know anybody who's talking about it. And of course, the left-wing radicals are not going to talk about it because they care more about identity politics than lifting up the American worker. And these foundations are the ultimate institutions of identity politics. I mean, you think about it, this is crazy, Tucker. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in ill-gotten accumulated wealth.
Ill-gotten accumulated wealth. How so? How was it ill-gotten? You might disagree on how it's used, but how was it ill-gotten? Was it stolen? Was all this money accumulated from some shady mixed marketing program or whatever?
It serves as a tax haven for left-wing billionaires. And what do they do with this? They fund critical race theory. They fund ridiculous racism. They fund teaching 6-year-olds that they should cast off their gender. We are actively subsidizing the people.
We're subsidizing
people who are destroying this country, and they call it a charity. It's just ridiculous.
Right. So for ordinary people, gas has never been more expensive.
Gas has never been more expensive. Why is that, Tucker? Is gas expensive because we're not taxing institutions like the Ford Foundation enough?
Simple pleasures have never been more expensive, the things that normal people need to live, but there's not even a national conversation, not even a hint.
Now, how is this different than when crazy left-wingers and atheists demand that we tax the churches? How is this any different? This is basically the Christian conservative version of let's tax the churches.
That we might tax the most powerful foundation.
Because churches are tax exempt, and they're in the business of promoting ideas, often ideas I don't like. I don't believe that they should be taxed.
In the country. I hope you'll keep this up. When you do, how do people respond?
So yeah, J.D. Vance, he essentially wants to use taxes to punish institutions for the sin of spreading ideas he doesn't like. Which he might be right to not like them, but that doesn't give you an excuse, a justification to use force to punish them for doing so. Because again, I thought we had free speech here, folks.
Look, they like it because they recognize at the end of the day, why are we allowing the companies, the foundations that are destroying this country to receive tax preferences? Why don't we seize the assets of the
seize the assets.
Ford Foundation, tax their assets.
Tax their assets.
And give it to the people who have had their lives destroyed by their radical open borders agenda. Give it to the people whose lives have been destroyed by the heroin epidemic. Give it to the angel moms who have lost a kid thanks to the Ford Foundation's ideas. This is what conservatives we need to wake up about. The left is completely controlling our society through these institutions. If we don't fight back against them, they're going to make this country not a good place to live.
Amen. God, thank you.
Yeah, and Tucker, he applauds this. And again, these are the guys that are eventually going to save America from the authoritarian left.